Let's go. Merry Christmas, guys. Feliz Navidad. All right. What are we doing? Oh yeah. What if Europe, the European continent, was just one country? Let's see. Curious Reason, the channel, top of the original link to the video, top of the description below. Let's just go. This is too hot, honestly. My name's Connor. Hello. Rhode Island, New England, USA, in that order. I like to learn about history and watch things and do stuff. Love to have you. Original link to the video, top of the description, right below that. Link to the Discord. Click on it. Don't be shy. More the merrier. Pull up a chair. It'll send you right over there. And I'll assign you a role. You can DM me, whatever you want, all right? Yeah, let's go. If you aren't ready to learn, there's the door.
The United States of America is the most powerful country in the world, specifically in economy, military, and some other few spheres. The main reason why it's so powerful is because it's united. For example, state of California alone has $2.7 trillion of GDP.
I always say the main reason is because of the oceans. Because we only... I'm pausing so quickly, I'm sorry. But we have pretty docile, weak militaries to our north and south. And it's just the perfect place to, when you get full control, just to not have international interference. All right, sorry.
It's united. For example, state of California alone has $2.7 trillion of GDP. That's bigger economy than Russia and Netherlands combined. Even the smallest state and economy like Vermont has bigger economy than 91 independent countries of the world. Coincidentally, European continent also has 50 states, but unlike US, they are all independent countries. The most developed countries per
Is it really exactly 50?
region is by far in the European continent. Countries like UK, Germany, France, Russia, Italy, and Scandinavian countries are considered to be one of the most powerful in military, economy, and overall happiness of its citizens. What if all these developed countries of the European continent united and become one country just like the USA? Speaking of European continent as a whole, it's surprisingly very small. Even the country of Canada is virtually the same size with the whole European continent, where Europe covers about 10,180,000 square kilometers.
Question. So Turkey is not part of Europe, but like part of Turkey is the side to the west of the main part of Turkey, and so it stops at the Caucasus. And then is it the Ural Mountains? Is that where the European part of Russia is separated from the Asian part of Russia? So that's pretty far back.
Or only 2% of the Earth, about 10,180,000 square kilometers, or only 2% of the Earth's surface. To put it into perspective, imagine a round clock, just like the Earth. In 1 minute is 30 seconds, and little over 1 second of it where whole European continent is located. This is including European territory of Russia, where the Russia is the largest, spanning 39% of the continent. Generally, as a single country, Russia is enormous. Even Asian part of it, which is Siberia, dwarfs the 50-country European continent, including Russia's European part. As a country and even as a continent, the economy of Europe is and will be the largest on part.
Sorry, I wonder what the population of Russia is on the Asian half.
As a country, dwarfs the 50-country European continent, including Russia's European part. As a country and even as a continent, the economy of Europe is and will be the largest on Earth. It would have $20.2 trillion of GDP, and GDP per capita will be $27,330. Additionally, it's the richest region as measured by the asset management. Its $37.1 trillion in assets under management represented 1/3 of the world's wealth. Countries like Germany, UK, France, Italy, Russia, and $20.2 trillion is and will be the largest on Earth. It would have 20%. The economy of Europe is and will be the largest on Earth. It would have $20.2 trillion of GDP, and GDP per capita will be $27,330. Additionally, it's the richest region as measured by the asset management. Its $37.1 trillion in assets under management represented 1/3 of the world's wealth.
By region, does he mean like that European country compared to other countries, or like this region of the world compared to?
Countries like Germany, UK, France, Italy, Russia, and Spain will be the states exceeding $1 trillion threshold, comparing to US only California, Texas, and New York. A century ago in 2016, there was 330 million people lived in Europe. In 2050, there were 549 million people, and now, as of 2018, there are around 742 million people, which is slightly less than 10% of the world's population. It will be the third most populated country in the world, although most part of the Europe has been suffering from low fertility rates relatively to other regions of the world. As it stands now around 10% of the world's population, if demographic trends keep their pace, its share may fall to around 7% in 2050, but still amounting to 716 million people in absolute numbers. To specifically revert low fertility rates among its citizens, countries like Russia had launched a policy that would give around $9,000 for the second and every following born baby. So giving $9,000 in Russia is like giving around $36,000 in the United States for every born baby. This shows the severity of the low birth rates in European countries. European continent as a country will be one of the most diverse ethnic region in the world. There are more than 100 ethnic groups. The largest ethnic group will be the Russians, of whom 110 million people reside in Europe.
Aren't Russians part of
Most diverse ethnic region in the world?
Isn't Russian not an ethnic? Aren't Slavs? Isn't Russia a Slavic nation? And so, like, aren't Russians and like Romanians or Polish or Belarus, like, aren't
world. There are more than 100 ethnic groups. The largest ethnic group will be the Russians, of whom 110 million people reside in Europe, and the second largest are the Germans with 83 million people, and the next large groups are the British with 66 million, French are 65 million, and Italians about 61 million people. As for the world domination in
I would not have thought France has less people than Germany.
military, European
Britain.
continent will be the largest army on the planet, with whooping around 3.5 million active military personnel. Currently, continent's military budget is around $310 billion. That's the half of the military
It says million, but obviously it means billion.
spending of the budget is around $310
Great
billion.
video.
That's the half of the military spending of the US. But Europe's average military spending per GDP is around 1.7%, and in US is around 3.1%. And in case if Europe unites and raises to 3.5%, then it will have $707 billion of total military spending. That will make Europe the most powerful country in the world in many different levels. And here comes the conclusion. Whether it's unified countries or people, they are theoretically and practically much stronger than the isolated ones. If we look at the United States of America, every single state is worse of some country outside. The fact that all of the state, every single state is worse of some country outside. The fact that all of the states are unified.
I'm sorry, guys. I just didn't understand his accent.
Much stronger
All of his states are what?
than the isolated ones. If we look at the United States of America, every single state is worse of some country outside. The fact that all of the states are unified under one government makes the USA current time the most powerful country in the world in many degrees.
Oh, every single state is weaker than at least one country. So let me know if I'm wrong here. So what he says is, if every state in the US was a country, like in Europe, none of those states would be, like, every one of them would be behind of some other country, right?
Government makes the USA current time the most powerful country in the world in many degrees. For instance, combined economy of states like California, Texas, New York, and Florida is bigger than the combined economy of 2 continents, like South America and Africa, which makes up 66 independent countries. The fact that Europe is the most diverse region in the world, unification as a one country might never happen and probably never will. But if it does,
I was saving this comment for the end.
We will witness the commencement of the most powerful and most developed country in the world.
Absolutely.
I was thinking about the capital for unified European continent, and there were many options on the table.
Vienna. Berlin? I would say London, but I think it should be more in the center. Maybe Warsaw. Or, because I think... So there. Yeah, like Vienna would be a good capital. Maybe not big enough. Maybe Paris. Berlin would be good.
Give us your thoughts down in the comment section below about which city should be the capital for unified Europe. And as always, thanks for watching.
Like, I think it should be pretty close to the center, or at least in a place where it's easily traversable.
About which continent, and there were many options on the table. Give us your thoughts down in the comment section below about which...
Oh, the thing I wanted to say, that he sort of mentioned or touched on the last seconds of the video, last minute of the video, was it probably would never happen, very unlikely for this to happen because of such the diversity in Europe. In terms of, I think the main point, the problem with diversity in Europe is the languages. I know, it seems like a lot of people in the Nordic countries know English, and I think Germany a bit. French, not. I feel like not a lot of. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like when I've been there twice, they really don't know English at all. And this is not a criticism. That I always want to make sure that when I'm saying I only know one language, and so any of you watching this who know English pretty well know English better than I know your language for sure. So I want to make that clear. Ooh, Copenhagen. I mean, you've got Warsaw. I mean, you've got Moscow all the way over there. Oh yeah, so the differences in language is going to mean one that's going to be a big in terms of not seeing each other as one. If a big part of culture, almost a huge part of culture is language. And in terms of military, to have a coherent military, the U.S. military, even though it'd be bigger than the U.S. military and a lot more bigger population and more military spending if they put this into effect and spent as much of their GDP as we do on the military. But the problem is that everyone in the U.S. speaks English. And so there's going to be no issues of communication, and that is huge in wartime. So I think that'd be an issue. Awesome video, though. Very cool. Oh, yeah, so Moscow. Thanks for watching, guys. Moscow. Athens, Rome. Maybe Rome. What's the capital of Switzerland? Bern? Maybe Bern, Switzerland, or Vienna. Anyways, awesome video. See you guys next time.